These are the 20 strongest characters in Windbreaker, and today I'll be ranking and explaining each one. This includes fighters from Bofurin, Shishitoren, and even some absolute monsters you haven't even seen yet. So, let's get right into it with the 20th strongest character, Hayato Suo. Yeah, you probably thought Suo would be a lot higher up, since he's this cool and mysterious guy who absolutely destroys anyone he fights with his insane mixed martial arts. Like, he literally dances around his opponents and toys with them thanks to his speed, intelligence, and pure technique, being one of the most technical fighters in the series. But, as awesome as Suo is, so far in the series we've only seen him fighting and taking down weaker opponents and leave the stronger ones to others, like Sakura. And yeah, he did defeat Obiki, but Obiki is way weaker than the rest of this list. So, although I'm sure Suo will rank higher later on in the series, he can't be higher than 20th right now. Next up, at 19th place, we've got Ren Kaji. As the second-year grade captain, Kaji is known for being fast and a super strong fighter. But honestly, his normal mode doesn't get him into the top 20. But you know what absolutely does? His Berserk mode. Yeah, when Kaji snaps into his Berserk mode, he goes full-on savage and doesn't stop attacking until his opponent is completely wrecked. And the craziest part is that he blacks out and doesn't remember a thing afterward. However, he's been keeping his Berserk mode locked away for a long time, like he even held back against Notori during the KEEL arc to not unleash this terrifying power. But when Banjo from Noroshi took out all of his friends, like Enomoto and Kusumi, Kaji couldn't hold it in anymore and went full beast mode. He literally bit Banjo, landed a brutal uppercut, and actually started turning the fight around. Unfortunately, the damage he took earlier plus the toll of going all out was too much, and he ended up passing out mid-fight. Still, that brief moment was absolutely enough to show everyone that Berserk Kaji is a monster, and that's why he easily earns his spot at 19th. Moving on to the 18th strongest character, we've got the leader of Gravel, Shuhei Suzari. Now at first, Suzuri was cold and childish, and he did whatever it took to keep his crew fed and safe in the Tsunaba district. But after meeting Tsubakino and Nakamura, Suzuri became friendly, upstanding, and started working towards a better future for himself and his whole gang. Like he even became a chef trainee. Although he was already a strong fighter before, his change of ways made him way stronger, which we clearly saw when he absolutely wrecked the leader of KEEL Notori like it was nothing. But what makes Suzuri so strong is his mimicry technique. Yeah, Suzuri is a genius at copying others' fighting moves, like he watched Tsubakino throw a high kick, then use the same move mid-fight against Notori. That kind of power is why Suzuri is clear at the 18th spot. Now, at 17th place, we've got Kiyoski Masuda. Masuda is one of the 10 battle-hungry monsters from the ruthless gang Noroshi, who are all known for being insanely strong. And although we've actually never seen his real power, as his fight against Hiragi was unfortunately off-screen, we do know that he's actually a very strong fighter, and absolutely deserves his spot as the 17th strongest in the series. Next up, at 16th place, we've instead got someone whose strength we've definitely seen in action, Kota Sako. As one of the new top 3 fighters in Shishitoren, Sako's strength is no joke, which we clearly saw during his fight against Hiragi. And yeah, I know, he did eventually lose that fight, but Hiragi literally said that he hadn't been hit like that in a long time. And as we know, Hiragi is a literal tank that says a lot. And now that he's gotten even stronger, Sako could absolutely go head-to-head against some of the monsters from Noroshi. Talking about Noroshi members, we've got the tag team duo Tarumi and Shikushi, who share the 15th and 14th spot. These two crazies always fight side by side, using not just brute force, but dirty tricks and teamwork to take down their opponents. They were also confident enough to think they could take out 2 of Bofurin's 4 Heavenly Kings when they came face to face. However, just like with Masuda, we don't actually get to see their true strength, as Choji just knocked them both out during the Noroshi War. Still, their merit as feared members of Noroshi speaks volumes, and that's why they're the 15th and 14th strongest in the series. Coming in at 13th place, we've got one of Bofurin's 4 Heavenly Kings, Takumi Mamos. Now, don't let his looks fool you. Yeah, he's small, rocks a jacket that's way too long, and always has his hood up. But this guy is seriously strong. He helped Umemiya take over Furin High, and he's now the leader of the Zojo division. Sadly though, we've never seen him go all out, as his fight with Tarumi and Shikushi got interrupted. Still, he's absolutely got to be this high up on the list. Another one of Bofurin's 4 Heavenly Kings at 12th is Saku Mizuki. Mizuki leads Bofurin's Komoku division, but just like Momose, we also haven't seen him go all out in a fight yet, as his fight against Tarumi and Shikushi also got interrupted. Still, Mizuki's strength isn't just throwing punches, he's also a tactical genius and a total military nerd who knows how to command a battlefield. So while we haven't seen his true strength yet, his brains, leadership, and reputation as one of Bofurin's strongest earns him this spot on the list. Before we get to the top 10, we've actually got another one of the 4 heavenly kings of Bofurin, Tsubakino. Although Tsubakino is a very kind and empathetic person, if you make him angry, like saying that Umemiya is stupid, yeah, well, Tsubakino will absolutely destroy you. So when Genji Sugichi, a Noroshi member, called Umemiya a bad leader, Tsubakino wrecked him, showing off his serious brute strength and speed. And as Tsubakino is absolutely huge, he uses his size to overpower his enemies, like we saw when Tsubakino took down Suzuri during the Rappo Ichiza arc. So yeah, you really don't want to get hit by Tsubakino's signature high kick move because you'll literally get folded. Reaching the top 10, we've got Shuji Hasharo. Now, according to Tsubakino, Hasharo is one of the 2 strongest guys in Noroshi who would be seriously tough to beat, aside from the 2 leaders, of course. And when we see him in action, we can clearly see why. As when Hasharo rolled up during the Noroshi War arc, he immediately just started toying with both Sakura and Sugishita, tossing them around, flexing his raw strength, and just straight up showboating as he knows how insanely strong he is. But yeah, when Sakura and Sugishita finally started working together like an actual team, they managed to surprise him and land a brutal knee to the face. And that's when Hasharo shows just how tough he really is, as even after that hit, he got back up and punched them both in their face. However, that's when Togame arrived and took him down, which is why this insanely strong guy isn't higher on this list. Still, he absolutely deserves his number 10 spot. Moving up to the 9th spot, we've got Yugo Wanjima. Yeah, you might not have heard about this former Shishitoren member, as literally the only time we ever see him in the manga is in the special chapter promoting the Windbreaker game. But hey, he's canon to the series and an absolute beast, so he's got to be on this list. So as I said, Wanjima used to be part of Shishitoren, but he wasn't just any member. He was one of the top 3 fighters in the whole gang, alongside Choji and Togame, and Wanjima was also considered a potential leader of the crew. Not only was he a monster in battle, but people respected him as he looked out for his gang, earned their loyalty, and was crazy popular. However, Wanjima eventually left Shishitoren, but still, he's an insanely strong fighter and definitely deserves the number 9 spot. From 9th to 8th place, we've got Canon Banjo. And yeah, this guy is unhinged. Banjo is said to be the 3rd strongest fighter in Noroshi, and when he showed up at the bridge during the Noroshi War arc and showed his insane strength, the Bofurin members all thought he was a literal monster. But not only is he a monster, he's also completely insane. Like, we're talking full-on psycho who loves the feeling of pain. Yeah, I'm serious. For example, during his fight against Hiragi, he dislocated his own arm to scratch Hiragi in the face, popped it back in like it was nothing, and smiled through it all saying how much fun he was having. He even threw himself and Hiragi off the bridge and yelled, "Let's die together," as he loves the feeling of death looming over him in a fight. So yeah, he's insane. But going back to his strength, even Hiragi said Banjo was a monster at fighting. And we saw it firsthand as he took down Kaji, Enomoto, Kusumi, and the entire 2nd class of the Tamon division like it was nothing. Oh, and he also took down Kaji in his berserk form without even breaking a sweat. Still, Banjo is not just scary strong, he's terrifying and insane. Next up, the 7th strongest character in the series, Joe Togame. Togame is not only the 2nd in command of Shishitoren, he's also a known legend for his insane strength. But I know what you're thinking, this guy literally lost to Sakura back in Season 1, so he can't be that strong. Yeah, well, Togame didn't use his full power during that match, but if he had gone all out, Sakura wouldn't have stood a chance. Because Togame has it all, raw strength, technical skill, and elite kendo training, being an expert at throws, takedowns, joint locks, and insane ground game, but his secret weapon is his limitless stamina. And remember that Hasharo toyed with Sakura and Sugishita? Yeah, well, when Hasharo fought Togame, he literally didn't stand a chance. He straight up called Togame a monster and said it felt like getting hit by a truck every time Togame landed a blow. So yeah, Togame is absolutely one of the strongest in the entire series. Moving on from 7th place and the 2nd in command of Shishitoren to the 6th place and basically the 2nd in command of Bofurin, we've got Toma Hiagi. Hiagi is a literal tank. Like remember in episode 1 when he got hit in the back with a bat while shielding Sakura, he didn't even flinch. And he then, of course, literally broke the bat in half as well. So his physical strength is off the charts, and his fighting style is pure brute force to overwhelm his opponents. Not only did he take down Masuda from Noroshi, who didn't stand a chance, he also took down Banjo. Yeah, remember Banjo, Noroshi's third strongest fighter who's literally a psycho who enjoys pain and the feeling of death in a fight? When Hiragi got serious in their fight, Banjo was so terrified he actually started crying, convinced he was gonna die if Hiragi landed another hit. So basically, Hiragi's strength can literally make his opponents cry. Now, reaching the top 5, we finally got the one and only Sakura Haruka. From the moment we saw this guy, we knew he was insanely strong, as not only does he hold his own in a 1 versus like 25 plus guys to protect Kotoha, he also shows up at Furin High and declares he's going to take the top spot at Bofurin. Oh, and he of course also beat Togame in a 1 versus 1, although as I said before, Togame of course didn't fight at full power. Still, Sakura shows time and time again why he's one of the strongest fighters in the series. And as he's a master gymnast, he uses these moves in his fights, like wall jumping, flipping, dodging, and kicking with ridiculous speed and flexibility. On top of that, Sakura's also got crazy durability, and he refuses to give up in a fight. Although he's a master at fighting one-on-one, he later learns how to fight like a tactician and seeing battles in third person, being able to coordinate with other fighters around him and seeing other fighters as weapons to use to his own gain. Yeah, he's basically Isagi from Blue Lock. But what makes him rank the 5th strongest fighter is thanks to his fight with Yamato Endo, the leader of Noroshi. When that fight started, Endo completely outclassed him, and Sakura was way weaker. But in the end, after Sakura realized who and for what he was fighting for, he got a power-up, and their fight became a brutal back and forth. Eventually, Endo said to himself that he couldn't defeat Sakura, and that's when Sakura headbutted him and knocked him out. So yeah, right now, after having knocked out Endo, Sakura has shown that he's one of the strongest in the series. Still, I'm sure he's going to become even stronger later on. Talking about Yamato Endo, he's up next at the 4th spot. Endo is a legend of Furin High and the founder and leader of Noroshi. From the second you see him, you know he's not someone to mess with, as he looks mysterious and scary with those tattoos and that dark, intense aura. And on top of that, his strength and agility are inhuman. He literally took down Tsubakino, Suzuri, and Nakamura all at the same time and wrecked them. Then later, he fought both Togame and Hiragi in a 2 versus 1 and dominated them. And although he technically lost to Sakura, there is way more to it than that. As at first, Endo was just playing around, but as the fight went on, Endo got serious and tried to take Sakura down and bring him over to Noroshi. But that's when Sakura knocked him out with his headbutt. But here's the thing. Endo woke up way earlier than Sakura. So, if he'd wanted to, he could have easily attacked Sakura while he was still down, but he didn't. So honestly, if that fight had gone on any longer, Endo would have won. And although he can be this goofy guy, like when he's around Sakura or Takishi, if you get in his way, he will absolutely destroy you. Now, we're getting into the top 3, and all of these guys are a level above the rest and very close in strength. Still, at 3rd place, we've got Choji Tommyyama. Choji is a straight-up legend, and his strength is so insane that people literally don't even see him as human, and that's exactly why he became the leader of Shishitoren, because no one could beat him. Well, except for Umemiya, but that's because during their fight, Choji was way weaker, as he was too focused on power and had forgotten the joy of fighting. Umemiya even said his punches felt lighter, but trust me, they don't feel light anymore. Just ask Tarumi or Shikushi from Noroshi, as Choji literally one-shot both of them. On top of Choji's raw strength, he's insanely fast and agile, flipping and swinging around his opponents. And don't forget that he literally one-shot 50 guys at once during the Noroshi War while just laughing. So Choji is easily the 3rd strongest fighter in the series. But who is the 2nd strongest? Well, that's the one and only Hajime Umeamia. Umemiya is the leader of Bofurin, and we can all see why, as he's the kind of guy who instantly earns your respect, being calm, warm-hearted, and always putting others first. And people look up to him, not just as a leader, but as a symbol of strength and hope for Furin High and the city of Mikochi. Now sure, he can goof around a lot, but when it's time to get serious, he turns into an absolute beast. Like remember when Choji pulled up to Furin High, the moment Umemiya became serious, this is what Sakura saw, and later Sakura literally couldn't even move because of Umemiya's aura. Now, as Umemiya is really tall, he uses his size to completely dominate his opponents with raw strength. But the real thing that makes him so strong is his resolve. Umemiya doesn't fight just to win, he fights to protect, he fights for Bofurin, for Furin High, and for Mikochi. And when he uses his full power, he's terrifying. Like Sakura was shocked and didn't even recognize him anymore, saying he looked like a blazing monster. So yeah, Umemiya is a real monster and deservedly the second strongest in the series. Now finally, the strongest character in all of Windbreaker, Chica Takishi. Yeah, even Umemiya himself said that Takishi is the strongest fighter in Furinhai's history, and the craziest part is that Umemiya has never been able to beat him. Sure, Umemiya technically won their fight on the rooftop, but let's be real, he only won because he was fighting with a purpose, and Takishi was just fighting for the fun of it. So winning or losing didn't matter to him, and that's why he surrendered in the end. But when we're talking about pure combat skills, Takishi is in a league of his own, as his fighting style is a perfect mix of grace, speed, power, and unpredictability. It's been described as dancing in a frenzy surrounded by flying embers, as he's got lightning-fast punches and kicks, footwork that'll leave you dizzy, and inhuman agility. Oh, and he also literally knocked out a raging Umemiya mid-fight. On top of that, his stamina and durability are off the charts, as he took blow after blow and still looked more fresh than Umemiya by the end of the fight. So yeah, if Takishi had wanted to win more than anything, he would have taken down Umemiya without much trouble. Yeah, I'm serious. So there's no doubt about it, Chica Takishi is the strongest character in the series. But who do you think is the strongest character in Windbreaker? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next.